It's the time to get down.
Really, because they don't define it the same.
It's so funny.
But here's the good point too, Amber. I think that with time, you lose a lot of the old biases. The price you pay for that is you also lose cultural identification. In other words, you stop clinging to your blackness because you're part of the hip hop generation, you know. And you see this with other cultures, by the way. The Japanese American, the most assimilated minority in the United States. 75% marry non-Japanese. Okay, that's why they are the most assimilated minority in America. Okay. And so you see these things change with time. And slowly the kids don't have the same thing. Like some of the parents say, my kids, they don't know anything. These are black parents, don't know anything about Martin Luther King. And they told me they're not into the black thing. You know, and I said, but they're part of the hip hop nation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is part of the phenomena. So again, it's the NAACP by their name. We know it's a bunch of old brothers, right?
Well, you had to go there, didn't you? You had to go there. Look at you.
It just is.
Okay.
It's an organization of the old black folks, and that's so. And so it just you're going to have these kinds of.
Well, you know, first of all, if anybody's worried about me running for political office in the future, my future's already passed. So you know, I really don't care too much because I think you just can't make everybody happy. And the hard part about this, Mario, is you can't take several terms on a piece of paper and have it reflect the representation of many different folks of many different backgrounds and simplifying it by saying, give me what you are, and then take in consideration the decades or the generations of those who are going, well, my experience of the term at 20 is different than at 50 and 60. You can't make everybody happy. I say, so you can either continue to dwell on the hardships or you just move forward. And I'm a moving forward person. I can't help it. I talked to my father the other day about it. I said, Pops, no matter what happened to you in Alabama, I can't translate it to the me and now. And he completely understands. He says, if you could dwell in the land of what they call misery, you stay there. In the meantime, I'm moving forward.
Well, that's the truth. And we don't mean to be cruel by saying get over it, but to some degrees, I admit we have to. I came up hating and scared of the police. Hating them at a combination of hate and fear. All they did was jack us up. Okay? People say, why? I remember being 14, right, Vic? We would be walking to the parties. They would stop you and make you lie on the ground.
Yeah.
And then they would go like, you could leave. And if you try, what? You can get your ass kicked real fast.
Yes, it's true.
Real fast. So how can you imagine this? I remember one time I was like, I'm in all my party stuff. So they make me lay face down on the ground. And then they just say you go. So we get up now. We got leaves and shit. Dirt. All in my afro, got leaves. Who the hell gonna go to the party after that?
But your girlfriend loved you.
Now you had to walk your ass back home, take all the leaves and shit off your clothes, and then try to get somebody's mother to drive you to the party. That was part of the black. Yeah. Just like growing up, I knew what it was like. You knew what lines to cross driving.
Right.
You were going to get stopped.
Right.
You just knew you were, and they stopped you, and they didn't talk to you the same way back then. They go like, "Why are you here?"
Right.
You know you don't belong over here, right?
Right.
That's just like ego.
That's what they did.
And men's own insecurity within themselves.
Oh, yeah.
They just have to project that on someone else.
Well, it's part of the times. True. And Amber, let me tell you this different. Years ago, in the love of my life, Latina look almost white, right? She's Argentine.
Right.
She's all liberal and shit. We traveling through Texas. I said, now you have to understand. you from Texas, right? I had to explain to her, everybody don't appreciate the fact that you're with me. Okay? All right? So you need to just be cognizant of where you are. You were in Texas, okay? They string brothers up out here.
Right.
For a party. Okay.
I dated a lot of brothers when like in my later teens and early 20s. Yeah, I did. And I dated a lot of brothers, and I would get some dirty looks,
Oh, hell yeah.
Wow.
Back then they would say, but the sisters was bad.
They would go, yes.
That's
they
right.
would hate too.
I had a white girlfriend in high school for a minute. Boy, they followed us around Westwood. Sisters followed us around. Just talking shit.
Yeah.
So it is a different day. We know that. People are going to say, I think the point is, we are making progress because we're moving toward more acceptance of each other. More, people, we used to whistle at women. Just try that today.
Okay.
Doesn't go over, right?
No.
I used to smoke on airplanes. Remember that? People say, oh my God. I said, yeah.
Really?
You used to smoke. They had ashtrays built into the armrests.
Yeah.
On the air. Some people nod and say, I remember. Okay, that was the way it was. And then they actually had the nerve to have a smoking section on a plane.
Yeah.
Like the smoke didn't go to the hole.
That's ridiculous.
And out here in California, it's passed a law said you can't smoke
crazy,
within 10 feet of a food truck.
Right.
I know. Change.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's a good change. It's a good change. Now women bring their own condoms.
Oh, that's cold.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's the good. So that was that controversial news.
So was that good news or bad news?
Oh, I don't know, but
You got to frame it.
Well, okay. Let's get to some of the. Let's deal with. We got still some bad news. First of all, I got to give you an update on the Libyan uprising because that's what's going on, you guys. It's hard to ignore what's going on. First of all of this uprisings across the Middle East and China, Asia too, should sort of make us now think these are the same folks that people were talking about nuking them, right? Just like when I had the protests in Iran, everybody was, look at the Iranians want freedom, blah, blah, blah. We're so supportive. I said, but you wanted to nuke them before. Okay.
Right.
I say this because to bring up the political point that I try to raise, and everybody knows how leftist and radical that I can be. But it always has to do with governments and not people. We have to be very careful about holding people responsible in the same way that we hold governments. This is where your racism comes in. This is where your prejudices come in. And the Iranian protests, so many Americans, all of a sudden were shifting their position as they watch these Iranians struggle for the same peace and freedoms that we enjoy. All of a sudden you realize, well, maybe my beef wasn't with them in the streets. Just like I tell people about the Middle East crisis in Israel, no matter what side of that argument you are. There are peace protests in Israel that you never see.
Right.
So you can't criticize all the Jews no more than you can embrace all the Palestinians. These are the issues, and we will remind you here on this show because we are political, but we always remind you our issues are with government and leadership. We think that we're all flawed in the same ways and that people want freedom. If you watch what's happening in Libya, how is that any different than what we want here as Americans for ourselves? And why are we surprised that people all over the world want the same freedoms?
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I got to give you the update on this piece. Where is my piece?
See, that's what's happening.
Well, because I got to give you we go to Al Jazeera. People say, why? By the way, tomorrow we're going to be doing a piece about the changing face of Al Jazeera. Now everybody's embracing Al Jazeera because Al Jazeera is the one who's been giving you the really wonderful
coverage.
News items about all the happenings. And people say, isn't it biased? I said, more biased than CNN. I said, but when you go look, they've been really critical of Muammar Gaddafi. They have a special that's a 27-minute piece about the history of corruption in Libya. And it's a piece you can go and watch it on Al Jazeera. Now, it's english.aljazeera.net. You can search it on Google. But go take a look at these news. Now, we tell people to go look at it because we think it's wonderful for you to see how you're viewed in foreign press. It's not the same way as you're viewed here. You may like it, you may not like it. But it's still, you can see how you are viewed in foreign press because it is different.
Okay, well, why are you getting that situated? Is that affecting the gas prices? Because I have a problem.
Well, you guys, we did a story here actually 2 or 3 months ago that said that they were already planning gas hikes. We broke that story months ago. So this gives them the excuse. They're out to screw you, okay?
Yeah.
They're out to screw you, and they're like, it's one of those things. It is whatever you say it is, okay? They can always come up, well, it's this. Because of what's going on in the Middle East, we have to now tap the oil stores and perhaps, bullshit.
I know,
it's whatever.
do we have enough oil?
Right.
We have enough oil right in Texas?
Oh, sure they do.
You know what's crazy is I go overseas and entertain the troops twice a year, so I've gone over 13
And God bless, by the way, it's radical. This is one thing we say, Amber. We would protect them and give them the best armament, health care, Yeah, take care of our troops.
That's right.
And we're not doing like Vietnam. Even though we may be against the armed struggle, let's always remember these are our brothers and sisters.
That's right.
Thank you, Amber.
And it's been really interesting, going over there. I've learned a lot, like, of history and stuff. But I remember being in Iraq, and there would just be puddles of oil, large puddles of oil, just seeping through the sand. It was wild.
Wow.
It was wild.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing, is because it's a manipulated commodity. By the way, I always say, isn't it interesting how it affects your politics, where you're willing to go into and where you're not willing to go into? Because we certainly, with the oil, it's a national security item, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, embarrassing enough, I can tell you that because I also read a lot of this. There's amazing things you can get on the internet. There is always studies that are done in terms of the American public's reaction. Now, you wonder why they study some things, but there were studies before, and I quoted them in previous shows, that said that studies showed that Americans were willing to fight wars just to have cheaper gas. So they polled you. So this is what they're saying about the American public. You're willing to, and that they were willing to have people die as long as they didn't have to see it. That's why they don't show you, during Vietnam, they would give you a death count every day at the end of the news. Today in Vietnam, we had something deaths. Now, they don't do that. And also, they actually forbid the people, when someone in your family dies, you used to be able to take pictures of their casket and stuff. When they would have like a ceremony when they would bring home the dead. And people would take videos or take pictures. Now that is forbidden. They don't allow you to see any dead. They don't allow you to see them shipped home. They don't allow you to see them unloaded.
That's true.
Because their studies showed that makes you anti-war.
I think there's, like, Americans and in society, they just suppress their feelings instead of facing the truth and the facts. And I think, media does a good job about keeping that suppressed, and I think that's ridiculous. I think the truth should be
We're
out.
schizophrenic.
We should know what's going on.
Exactly.
Really what's going on.
To me, it's a sign of our mentality. It's like for a nation, with all the porn and all the sex, we can't watch a woman breastfeed. That freaks you out.
Right. Or
you got to pass a law that you can't breastfeed in public.
Yeah, or Janet's wardrobe malfunction. We've all sucked
Yeah,
a titty.
right. Like, ooh.
Right.
Oh, my God. Just like you notice that because of the old, again, some things persist.
Right.
We've always been willing to show women's external genitalia. They won't even show you a flaccid penis, much less an erect one. You don't get to see anywhere on TV erect penis.
Right.
So they don't exist. Well, that's because they're mostly men over 45. No, I'm just kidding.
That's wrong.
But I'm just saying, we still today have trouble with women breastfeeding in public, and you cannot see a penis. It's just men won't let it be seen. Something about it's too corrupting.
No,
that's
it's
why,
not.
so just like men, uncircumcised men, right?
No,
You have a number of women say they've never seen an uncircumcised penis.
Yeah, Mar, you know what it is, bro.
Amber?
There's a
I
shrink.
have. I've experienced too.
It's a shrinkage issue. Just tell them. Just tell them the truth.
Well, it's cold. It's cold. Sometimes it's cold. Well, anyway, we'll get back to the story. Here's a piece from Al Jazeera about what's going on in Libya. Again, the whole point we were trying to bring out, we love to, even though we are so leftist, to remind you that we are one. As our opinions that we all brothers, that we all have the same problems and the same issues and capable of the same good and bad. But here's what's going on in Libya, thanks to Al Jazeera.
All right. No pre-commercial buffer.
Everything in this conflict depends on who you believe. And in Tripoli, they really believe there's a lot to celebrate. According to the authorities, all these celebrations are spontaneous expressions of popular joy that their forces have taken back control of the towns of Azawiya and Misrata from the rebels, or thugs as they're described on Libyan state TV.
It's the time of victories in Libya, and as you see, that's today, last night, and this morning, it's time of victory of the people of Libya. These people you see is the people, is true people of Libya.